episode on exes?
Tanner would talk the whole time.
That is dangerous waters.
You think?
The only thing that you've got is you dated someone with the same name as you. And that's just weird. That's true. She was older.
She was older. I mean,
Just
kind
kind
of
of weird.
married.
That's
people
true.
older
We're all
than you.
cougar.
Yeah.
We're all cougar hunters.
Yeah, but
I think the weirdest thing with that was that she was in the same grade and knew our sisters as them, and they were 2 grades above us through high school. I think that was probably the weirdest thing was they knew each other.
yeah,
That was
Jackie
really
at
the-
least was like older for a grade. And he was young for the grade,
right.
so there was still only like a year gap, but it was still weird.
I think that's probably what freaked me. Like, was like the weirdest part was, oh, you went to school with my sister and she's older than me.
Yeah,
It's, like in high school, it seemed weird. Once you get out of high school, it's not as
the further from high school you
weird.
get, the less the age gap matters.
yeah. Because like my oldest sister
Is
Corey,
Ellie
her and her
older than
husband
you?
are a few years apart.
Is Ellie older than you?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Full year. You didn't get that memo.
You're the only one
apparently.
that's normal.
Normal.
That's
Loosely defined.
Stereotypical.
Kara just
man's
barely
older.
got out of the
What-
teens. How
What's
weird
normal?
is that?
What's normal about Darren besides that, though?
He's got a point there.
Well, don't all
Blonde-
speak at once.
Blonde hair, blue eyes.
I got you on that
Brother
one.
We're chopping all that, right?
we'll just censor out her name. Just whoop.
Continue, Colby.
Okay. Today's topic, gentlemen and ladies that are watching, whoever they may be.
The 3 that do.
The 3 that.
Hi,
3
Mom.
I know my mom watches. That's saying something.
Oh,
We're
my
at 3
sister-
already.
my
I don't
sister
think my
does.
mom.
My sister
My
said
parents don't.
Who, Kat?
Kat said that she listens to our podcast before her normal podcast Monday mornings.
Nice.
Nice.
Thanks,
Thank
Kat.
Thank you.
Shout out.
Shout out to her.
Twin.
You guys look at it as if she's gonna see it. She listens to the
could.
podcast, not the YouTube
Well, you
video.
see,
See
you
what
have a
happened was.
point.
We didn't think it through, okay, Matt?
When do we think anything through?
Never.
Maybe this. Just a little bit. Not
Honestly,
much.
honestly, our dumb ideas probably get more thought through than any of the other stuff.
That's actually kind of true, though.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
Yeah,
couch
okay.
surfing.
like the
I
amount
just
of
told
brain
my
power
parents about
we have
that.
put into the couch and like the different wheels and like
Mm-hmm.
supports and everything.
And the fact that you guys like researched what the best kind of wheels to do it again.
Oh, yeah.
It was-
We,
Yeah.
There's trial and
I think it
error.
was less research, more just like
That was-
sitting there pondering.
Yeah,
it was
I
more
guess.
ponder.
Yeah, but we've like looked into it,
That's
like
true, that's
search
how expensive
reviews
they
and
are.
pricing. Yeah.
Yeah,
think
because
we
trash
put
can
it-
dollies, you know, those go for like $30.
I
a
actually
piece.
have
Yeah.
a no. We'll talk about it later.
We need to
Okay.
put a tow hook on the front so we can just hook the rope
Yeah,
to it and then not
Yeah,
have
that
to
rope it got heavy.
I just told my parents about that like 2 weeks ago.
Oh really?
It somehow came up.
What was their
I-
reaction?
Just kind of looked at me and they're like,
Why?
"What did you do?" I was like, "Put furniture dollies on the bottom of my couch." Why?
Because
We wanted to. It was you know,
Pull it.
2020 summer. You know, quarantine. Everyone was kind of crazy. We wanted to. It was
Glory
fun.
days.
And they asked like, "Where?" I was like, the meth street." Huh? Where Alexa and Kat live? Oh, okay. Yeah, just down there. We got towed in a Jeep. Oh, okay. They weren't like
My par-
upset or
yeah.
they kind of
Yeah,
just
they were
had
just
like a
confused.
neutral reaction to it.
Yeah.
It's been long enough now. They don't care.
Oh,
Yeah.
I moved out.
Honestly, once you move out, all bets are off.
Yeah.
You can suddenly start telling stories.
Yeah, I wouldn't say all bets.
Most.
Yeah,
most bets.
Yeah, like we keep some things still a secret.
Secrets.
On that note, again, today's topic is childhood injuries that we all have sustained. Some of us have some good stories. Some of us just stupid stories.
Why are you looking at me when you say stupid?
Stupid
couldn't
is as
think
stupid
of
does. Stupid with 2 O's.
Okay, I have a question. For everyone. Who has broken a bone?
Never.
Like confirmed, like confirmed broken.
Oh, confirmed never.
Twice.
But I mean, this is pretty clear evidence.
Yeah, like your thumb's jacked. But
thumb
like,
is
is it
gone.
confirmed broken?
Busted
Because I know
this
you.
thumb, and
Yeah,
mine looks better than yours.
Because you got it fixed.
yeah.
you got
I've
yours
never.
Casted, but not surgery or anything.
Yeah, but Darren,
Yeah,
it was
fixes it.
during lacrosse season. I couldn't say anything
You
or
just
show
played-
up with the cast, or else
Right.
coach wouldn't play me.
I was
Right.
freshman with the senior goalie over me. I wasn't getting playing time anyways.
Yeah,
That's true.
You
That's
were
true.
fine.
Yeah.
That's true. I've
I
never.
like figured out how to, if I cut the palm of a glove, I could slide it over, and if you can get a glove on it, you can play.
Right.
And so I was going to, and then I was like, it's his senior year. I'm gonna
Just let him
enjoy the
have
playing time. I've certainly got enough of it since.
it. By far.
Yeah, I've
Yep.
never broken a bone, but I remember. I don't know why I remember this, but it was the first day of school, my 8th grade year. Don't know why I remember it exactly, but I remember I was laying on the ground right before bed, and my hands were
Like the day before the first day,
no, like
or after
like,
the first day.
Like it was the first day of school. It was that night.
Okay.
Remember, my hands were like flat, and Austin, my little brother, jumped over me. Didn't jump far enough. His heel landed on my pinky.
That's tough.
It just hurt. I didn't hear a crack, but my mom was right there. She said that she heard a crack when my dad asked. I was like, I didn't hear a crack. I just kind of felt a pop and a lot of pain. And my mom said she heard cracking, and so now it doesn't straighten. Like if I just open my hand, like it's straight right now, but like for the most part, that's its natural sittingness is popped up like, and the other one does it too. Both pinkies do. I don't know what happened to the other one, but they both pop up and they're kind of like weird double jointed. I don't know. It didn't break, but it swelled up a ton.
Huh.
And then after,
My
know,
thumb
it's
got fat
days.
when it first happened.
Mine got fat, and I was like,
And
it'll go away.
Didn't go down.
Never went away. It hurt for like 3 weeks, but I couldn't say anything.
Have you broken a bone, Colby?
Never.
Just got a lot of concussions.
I,
and some
that's
ankles.
true. That's true. Yeah, I have no ankles.
Yeah.
I have no brain left either.
I've got another one unless someone else wants to go.
I'll go.
Okay.
So there's this one time I got pictures of it too. Well, not of it happening, but I used to live in California. You guys know that, and we used to live next to someone who had goats.
Meh.
Were they fainting
Yes.
goats?
No, not fainting goats. But I was like 5, 6 at the time, and this neighbor was like, you know, it'd be so cute if your grandkids, to like my grandparents, it'd be so cute if your grandkids came and fed the goats. My grandparents were like, oh yeah, this is a great idea. My brothers,
They
for
weren't
some
thinking
reason,
cute at all. They're like free entertainment and chores getting done.
my brothers thought it was a great idea to have me carry the food bucket
Of course.
so that they could like throw food, right? There was this one goat, dude. It was not having it. It was like, what is this puny kid gonna do to stop me from having my food? So it just kept ramming into me over and over as I had this.
Awesome.
And I wouldn't say I like actually got hurt, but it knocked me over a couple times. Like, and that was probably the first time that I could say like that was a childhood injury. That was not fun. Fun goat story. Not fun as a child.
Goats are dumb.
Smarter than me. I was carrying the bucket.
Smarter than me.
But look at you now, Matt.
Matt,
Yeah,
your
now I could take a
comparison
go.
to any animal is just so funny to hear. Goats are dumb. Not dumber than me. A disabled gorilla could take me out.
Well, yeah.
Still your best line.
I'm saying the goat
No,
was
what
smarter
kind of
than me.
disability?
They both make sense. It's just funny how you just roast yourself in any comparison to an animal.
Let us know if you want us to do a part 2 to us versus the animal kingdom, and we'll do a part 2 and we'll get some more animals in a list.
I'll be honest.
That'd be good.
I have talked to multiple people. I think I posted it. No one said that they could take a gorilla. No one said I could take a gorilla. It was
Nobody could take a
bad,
gorilla.
bad decision by you guys.
None of us are Tarzan.
Tarzan,
He
realistically.
fought Kerchak and gained
Oh yeah,
his
no,
respect.
no. I was just trying to remember. Did any of us claim we could take a gorilla?
No.
Yes.
No.
You
I
guys.
think-
you
None of
guys
us
were-
claimed that we could take one. I think the
You said you
biggest
would
debate was how long
fight
we could
one.
last.
You said you could fight one, and I said no. You wouldn't fight when you die.
You could
And then we
fight
started-
it. It's just a matter of survival. Or I guess
Anyways.
what's your definition of a fight? I guess that's the biggest thing it comes down to.
All right, Matt, me and you
You
square
can
up.
just punch in.
This windmill.
So But yeah, let us know if you want a part 2.
Darren, you got any
My
good?
story. I've got. You want to hear a broken bone story?
Let's hear it.
All right. Well, I went down to Little Jamaica, a little spot on the creek between here and Mesquite.
The Craig.
The creek.
Where are you from?
I don't know. It's fun. It's a creek.
Mountain.
Hicktown, USA.
Yes, sir. So we go down there, and it's got like a little hot pot or whatever you can hang out in. And it's middle of the summer, so everything's hot, you know. So
Yeah.
it wasn't that fun, but we're like hanging out in there, and then I see some people like cliff jumping into the river. Creek is a better description for it, you know.
Sounds
Not
about
deep.
right.
So then I was like, that sounds more entertaining than what I'm doing. And so I was like, I go over to them and I'm like, is it deep enough? And they're like, yeah. So I scramble up the rock with them and everything. And they're like, you just have to jump right there. And I was like, okay. And then I just ran, and I remember the dude up on the hill as I'm flying through the air. He's like, man, he didn't hesitate at all. And then I was like, should I have?
How old were you?
This
Did we cover that? I don't think
is
so.
like this was a week before freshman year started.
Oh, okay.
So you
Yeah.
should have known
So
better.
So like
how old
14,
are you when
15.
you're a friend? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
15.
About that. So then I'm like, well, like, I had seen them jump already, you know? So I was like, it's got to be deep enough.
Yeah.
But I wasn't thinking about how you got to keep your legs kind of straight because that's your last set of suspension, you know? I just jump in as soon as I hit the water, kind of cannonball, pull up my knees, just slice right through the water, hit the bottom, hear a really bad sounding pop. By the time I surface, like, I'm not kicking with that leg, you know? And I was like, oh, crap. So then I'm like swimming with just my arms.
T-Rex arms going
Yeah,
on.
I'm just like swimming and get over to the edge. And then by the time I got out of the water, it was fat, like 3 times its normal size. And I was like, that's not good. And then like we had some like frozen water bottles or whatever, so we're like holding that up against it. And to get down into this spot, we hiked down a waterfall.
Right on.
And now I'm like, I cannot stand on this foot, you know? And so I was like, well, this is going to be fun. And then right at that time, there was like someone in a Jeep or something about to leave, and they had their Jeep down by the riverbanks. So then my mom was like, hey, can you hop in with you guys, and then we'll drive around and meet you? And they're like, yeah, for sure. So then I'm like, I have to swim across the river again. And then I'm like hopping through the sand, and it's like 110 degrees outside. That sand was so hot, but like it hurts to hop because you're moving your foot around, you know. And then my mom's trying to support me, and I just start cruising. I was like hauling. I was like, I don't care if it hurts. Like I am scorching my feet right
Yeah.
now. She's like, slow down, and I was like, no shot.
None.
Get in the
Speed
Jeep.
up, Tammy.
It's like, So then, like, they're driving me around, and then I hear this side of the story later. But then Jackie had gone up to, like, start up the van or whatever and load up everything. So then she's up in the van already in the driver's seat, and my mom's, like, hiking the waterfall to get up and catch up to him. And then Jackie, trying to be funny, like, starts pulling away in the van. And, like, my mom doesn't have her phone on her or anything, so she starts freaking out. She's trying to haul. My mom, like, runs into a tree branch that was hanging low, slices open her forehead while she's trying to chase down the van. And Jackie's like, ah. So then my mom comes, and then, like, Jackie stopped. Of course, you know, my mom comes running up behind her. And Jackie looks in the mirror and just faces all down her face, or blood all down her face. And my mom's just, like, covering her cut or whatever, and they're like, oh, and then now Jackie's freaking out. Then they meet us, and these people that are giving me a ride, they're like, you guys are a wreck. Like in the 5 minutes we were gone, another one of you is hurt. It was crazy. But then, so yeah, that all happened. Get home and like ice it, elevate it, whatever. Talking to my dad and everything, and he's like, probably just sprained it bad. I don't think it's broke. And for the next 2 weeks, I was told to walk it off. And then I was like, it's really not getting better.
It's not going away.
I think it's getting worse. We should probably get an x-ray of it. And they're like, all right, go to hospital, x-ray, broken. I was like,
Told you.
y'all suck. And then I got Chick-fil-A. So I was like, all right,
Win-win.
could have been worse.
Colby, do you have one? Because I've got 2 that are very much related.
I have quite a few, but I'll tell the first one.
You don't grow up like Kobe did without getting hurt.
So one Sunday morning, it's a nice Sunday morning.
Sunday morning.
Of course, it was Sunday.
Yeah.
It's the best part of the story. But I'm just playing up in my room. Don't really know what exactly I was up to. Just kind of screwing around. Find 2 keys in my room. Just like, I wonder what would happen. I know where this is going. About 4 or 5. Anybody can guess where this is going. I look at the outlet and going, I wonder what happened. Put it in. Boop. Pop. Hands go all black. I'm looking at it going, I don't know what to do. So I start rubbing my hands on the carpet trying to get the black off because I was like...
It didn't like sit you down? You didn't get shocked bad?
Oh, no. I just put it in. It shocked me and I dropped it and let go. And I was rubbing my hands trying to get the black off because I'm like, I'm going to get in trouble.
What color carpet you have?
It was white.
I
Or
figured,
like,
yep.
tannish. It wasn't.
Yeah.
It was light.
It was light.
Light.
So
Okay.
I'm rubbing it. It's not coming off. Everybody was downstairs in the kitchen eating breakfast or whatever. My mom comes up and she's like, who gave you a marker? Who gave you a permanent marker? She thought I took the Sharpie and drew on my hands and I'm trying to get it off. Because they heard the pop and didn't know they just thought I just dropped something or whatever.
Yeah.
She looks over at the outlet and still sees the 2 keys in the outlet and goes, did you put those in there? I'm like, well, yeah.
Well, yeah. Doubles down on it real
How else would they get in there, Mom?
Who else did it?
Then my mom's freaking out and they get me loaded in the car. Mind you, we don't go to the ER.
Mm-hmm.
We go to the quick care that's not even part of the ER. It's just some random clinic. That
Good on them taking you somewhere. My parents been like, you feel all right? Because you got to pull them out now. You got yourself into this mess.
Well, the problem was I'm pretty sure I probably tripped the GFI or the breaker or something.
Yeah.
I'm sure I
for
tripped
sure.
something. Get to the quick care. They find out what happens. Take me back. My dad's got a picture of me in the hospital bed. Sweatpants are on. Have a little gown on me. It's open. I'm all hooked up to the EKG machine. Whole 9 yards. My siblings' favorite part of the story was they didn't have to go to church that day. Not that I got hurt or I went in quick care. No church. We didn't go to church. Best thing in the world for them.
You should do this every Sunday, Kobe.
I know.
Nice. Hey, Colby, here's some keys. Go have fun.
Yeah, go do with that what you will. Never did it again.
That's how the
awesome.
keys
Yeah.
got there.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Who of us do you think has gotten the closest to death?
By choice?
No. Just closest to death, one way or another. How?
Ebola.
Well,
Yeah.
I got
You
really,
had
really
diseases.
sick.
Sophomore year.
No,
6
I
years
know.
ago. It's been 6 years now.
Oh, shit.
Besides that,
Bro, you got skinny.
I got
You got
I
thin.
dropped 20,
Thin.
30 pounds in about a week and a half.
Yeah.
And then, right, lost my appetite.
I don't know
That's
how
how
you
I
did that.
That's how I lost my appetite. I
I
didn't
get that.
eat. And then like whatever got me sick was just eating at me. I was sitting on the couch
You
all
weren't
day.
putting food in and something was eating you from the
Yeah,
inside.
I wasn't doing anything, right? So I dropped 20, 30 pounds within a week and a half, right? And then for the next 6+ months, it was what sounds good. Okay, eat it. Because I needed to start eating food because I wouldn't eat anything, right? So it's, hey, what sounds good? Oh, this sounds good. Okay, cool. We'll make it yourself. Like, just eat it. Like, you need to eat, right? So then that was November 2016. Dropped, didn't go to school at all, right? So it's been 6 years now.
Yeah.
And then that next semester of school, it was all, I still had like no strength in my joints. My muscles were super weak. My bones were super weak. I couldn't do much. So I missed that whole
By the
season.
end of the year, you were doing better, though.
Yeah, but like
I remember
after,
you
like,
were on the sidelines listening to Mozart to keep you calm down because you get so fired up.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I remember that. I listened to Mozart, bro. That was the best decision of my life, right?
I'd be playing, I'd look over and I'd see you like pacing around with the earbuds in, and I'm like, he wants to be on this field so bad.
Yeah. So like I could still walk around, but then anytime I'd start running, because I remember there was one time, it was like March-ish. I came to practice and played because
I
I
remember that
felt
one.
great. I felt great. Went super hard. We did like 50+ burpees that day in conditioning. I didn't play after that for months because
You got
it
wrecked.
killed me. Right. But then by the end of the season, I think I remember practicing the last couple weeks because I was finally healthy enough, but I had put on that weight ×2. I went from like 170, 180, dropped to 150, even less than that probably at one point. I remember like the lowest recorded was like around 150. And then had a doctor's appointment, 6 months after that, 196 was how big I was.
Because you and your whole family was just used to throwing food
Yeah,
at
it
you.
was,
Like,
oh, that sounds good to eat. Okay, eat it, because we didn't know what was going on with me, right? So 6 months later, I was that big. That was the heaviest I was recorded at that time.
mm-hmm.
And then that whole next year, junior year, I stayed pretty much that size. I didn't drop much. So that was pretty close to death.
You were probably the sickest.
Yeah,
I would say I was the closest to
sick
death.
wise, I think I was closest. But then, I've been in a car crash, totaled my car. That was probably pretty close too, because it hit on my side.
The only reason that I would say I was closer to death is because I had a doctor tell me that it was like 2 to 3 hours from me dying. My appendicitis. Like, I had a doctor literally tell me that I had like 2.5, 3 hours to live.
How old were you?
When did this happen?
6th or 7th grade. 6th or 7th grade.
I was thinking this was like in the last couple of years. I was like, I'm a terrible friend.
No, I was in the hospital for a week.
Were you in Utah at this point?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I was in Utah.
When did you move to Utah?
I moved to Utah 3rd grade.
That's what, like
8
years old?
Yeah.
Okay.
8 years
Okay.
old. So I've been here for a
Because
while.
your last story, you were 6 in California.
Yeah.
Okay.
Timelines.
Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, no.
I know nothing about math.
I one night, I think it was Thursday or Friday, I just had this like weird pain in my stomach, and I just didn't know what it was. I thought it was a bug flu, like a stomach flu or something like that. And I told my parents, they're like, nah, don't worry about it. So then the next morning it gets worse, and I'm like, hey, still doesn't feel great. And they're still like, you're going to deal with a lot worse in your life. Don't worry about it.
That's what parents do.
Yeah, that's what parents are for.
Yeah.
Suck it up.
Back before we got snowflakes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like Darren.
Anyways.
So then the next, kept going throughout the day. Saturday night, I was like, I don't want to walk. It hurts to walk. It's that bad. And so then Sunday we go, and my mom's talking to one of our neighbors, and she's talking to her neighbor about me, and she's like, that sounds like appendicitis. Like, my son just had it. That's not something you mess around with. And so then my dad goes, and he gets this like that's ironic. An appendix.
Like WebMD paper
WebMD,
edition.
yeah, of like different.
I think that's called
illnesses.
an encyclopedia.
Yeah, it is an encyclopedia, but
Okay.
for
How many
for,
facts you got? You sound like an encyclopedia, Tanner.
But an encyclopedia for sicknesses. And he's like, okay, does it feel like you're getting stabbed from the inside out? And I'm like, Dad, how am I supposed to know that? How am I supposed to know what it feels like? Because I think he even said, like, does
Sorry,
it feel like
little
someone's
one.
taking a knife and pushing it out of your skin? And I'm like, how am I
You
supposed to
said
know?
6th or 7th grade, so what, like 10,
12,
11,
13,
12-ish?
yeah.
Right around
Something like that.
Okay.
No, he said 3rd grade.
No,
That's
no,
what-
this
wait,
happened.
wait,
This
wait.
happened in
When this
6 or
happened,
7.
6 or
Alright,
7,
alright,
that's,
alright.
that's like 12,
Yeah.
13, 11-ish.
Yeah, and so
Okay.
I'm like, Dad, how am I supposed to know what that is? And he's like, if that's not what it feels like, then why are we going to take you to the doctors? And I was like, well, maybe, like, sure, that could be what it feels like. So then finally my parents take me to the doctors.
You're like,
And-
yes.
Yeah,
Take
like,
me to
yes.
the doctor.
For sure.
And this was still Sunday or by
Sunday.
Okay.
This
I
is
was like, Is it
Sunday.
Monday now?
This was Sunday at like 12 or 1.
Middle of the day.
Yeah.
Okay.
We go to the doctors, and they're always busy.
Right.
Like, the urgent care is always busy.
Right.
And so I waited for 3 hours in just a waiting room with, like, someone came, took my vitals, left.
I bet working the weekend to the ER would suck.
It's
Yeah.
awful.
Because, like,
Oh,
nobody
yeah.
gets hurt.
During
like,
the week.
Not as many people get hurt on
They're
a
working,
weekday.
yeah.
Like, how many dumb things do you do on a Tuesday afternoon?
Yeah, no one's getting plastered on a Tuesday.
You'd be
And if
surprised.
you are, you're
all right.
You've got something else going on. That's what's happening.
You're fighting some demons. Anyways, it's Sunday.
Yeah, Sunday. And there for 3 hours. And then finally someone comes in and is like, so this is what you're feeling. This is how long it's been going on. This is like all this, got all the facts. And they're like, you should not be here. Like, we need to get you somewhere.
Your dad's like, all right, thanks. That's what I was telling him all along.
Probably. I don't remember. I'll be honest. No, my dad. I don't think my dad was there. I think it was just me and my mom
He was like,
at that point. Yeah.
humor
He's
him.
like, yeah, take him to the hospital. We'll
Make
figure
him
it
pay the
out.
bill.
And then no, he might have been there. But then the person's like, we gotta get you somewhere. So they like within an hour, or 2 hours, I'm doing surgery. So that puts us at like 8 or 9 at night, maybe a little later. Yeah, my timeline
That's
at the
past
beginning was
dinner,
wrong,
bro.
And so then
You got vending machines?
That was my bedtime at that
going
age.
to surgery, and I'll be honest, I laugh at this every time I think about it. The last thing I remember is the anesthesiologist. He must have been having the time of his life. He walks over and he's like, "What does this smell like?" Out. I was out after
Like,
that. I was like,
Chloroform.
Homeboy loves his job.
yeah, for sure. And so then I wake up and all I remember is the doctor saying like, "Oh, it's a really good thing you guys came in when you did. You had like 2 hours to live." And all I was thinking was,
Dude.
so it's a really good thing that it didn't take 5 hours for me to get
In the
seen
waiting room.
instead of the
Yeah.
3, right? But that's why I think I was probably closest to death.
Yeah.
Like, oh, and then I spent a week in the hospital to recover from it and only ate ice for like 4 or 5 of those days.
Nice.
Shoot.
'Cause
Did I ever
couldn't
tell you
deal with
guys I was like this close to donating a chunk of my liver in Mexico?
To who?
it. Black market.
Homeboy I met.
Oh,
Right on.
He was like, doctor told him same thing, like, you got like 2 weeks to live. And I was like, Antonio, no. And so then I was like, well, if we're compatible. And then COVID hit. And like, that would not have been the time to be in a hospital.
No.
yeah.
Yeah.
Especially in Mexico.
I was like, I like called mission president, talked to him about it, talked to my parents about it. Like, I was close.
Yeah.
And then it just didn't happen.
Dang.
Prayed about it. And big guy was like, yeah,
I mean, your
you
liver
got
goes
other
back
stuff
to-
going on. And I was
Yeah.
like, all right. And then COVID.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Then you came back. Then we surfed a couch, and lots of things happened that
Yeah.
year.
Yeah.
Lots of things we don't want to talk about.
Any other injuries?
I've got a couple quick ones that are related. I was 4th or 5th grade, hanging out with.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I'll bleep that. My house, right? We live right next to the golf course,
Yeah.
Mhm.
right? And my neighborhood is, we call it the loop because there's like 5 holes that kind of loop around the majority part of my neighborhood.
Yeah.
And
Anthill. That's what Anna called it.
really, the anthill.
Yeah. Or Ant's Nest. She because it's just so like
Oh, I guess that makes sense.
Yeah.
All the roads.
That's
That's a good representation of.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyways, whose house is right next to a green and a tee box, right? And you got to cross the road to get from hole 6 to 7, hole 6 to 7, right? And out on the tee box, right? Nice grass because it's a golf course.
If anybody listening to this like wants to, you've given enough clues on how to get to your house. You could get pretty close.
I never said what golf course.
yeah, you did.
Anyways, I can bleep all this. We're fine.
So you're coming up on boop and golf course. Boop.
Anyways, across the street is the tee box to one of the tees, right? And this was before the grass kind of got ruined and the golf course kind of went a little downhill for a second because of a lot of things. Anyways, grass was super nice. We didn't want to walk down to the park that was down the road because it was right across the street, right? We're playing football.
Yeah.
I think you can see where this is going.
ran into the street.
No, didn't run in the street, but we were playing, and we were playing touch ball because there was a few neighborhood kids there. But me
That's
and
always a loose definition.
well, you see, when you're one of the biggest kids, or 2 of the biggest kids are going up against each other, right? We were playing touch ball, and he decides to try and. He had the ball. He was running at me, and I was getting ready to touch him, and he decided to run through me because he was bigger than me.
Yeah.
As one does.
Hit me in the head. Loose tooth got loose. That was that. Kept playing, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how much later or before this next one is. Same place, playing football again. But this time we weren't actually like playing touch ball. We were kind of just throwing it around, just having fun. Right? And there was fewer of us there,
Mm-hmm.
right? And like looks at me, and we're 3rd, 4th, 5th grade, so we're pretty young. And he's like, dude, let's like run at each other, jump as high as we can, like smack shoulders, like the pros, like the pro footballers do, You see them all the time, right?
Did he just tabletop you and just?
No, well, we ran at each other. I jumped pretty high, and for my age, I feel like I could jump decent, right? So I got, at least for my size, I got fairly high up in the air.
For
I
a
felt
white
like,
guy.
yeah, for a white guy.
Yeah.
Anyways,
All the factors.
Yeah.
I go and I jump up, right? And he jumps. He doesn't get off the ground. He fakes it and goes low.
That's what I meant by
and I'm
tabletop.
flying at him in the air, and he drops low. My legs catch him, and I scorpion into the ground. Another tooth gets loosed. I don't know the time I can't remember.
Like lost
before
or
after-
loosened?
Loosened.
Okay.
It didn't pop out, but I was like, oh, my tooth, because it started to hurt, and I started like wiggling. I'm like, oh crap. So similar time, we were told not to play on it because we knew the superintendent. We were like golfers would come through. We were told not to play on the golf course because you could get hit, and it's technically illegal unless you pay to be there.
Yeah.
And I remember my dad, we saw his van coming home from work, and he's driving down the road. We're like, oh crap, hide! So we hide behind like one of like the big rock, like this is the hole, this is the distance from all the tees to the XYZ, and we hide behind that. We're all like huddled behind it because it was big enough to hide us at the time. We watched him, he drives past. We're like, oh, whew, we're okay. We can come out and keep playing. So
One time I had like a tooth
about the
loose. I'm
third
pretty. What?
You never got to the third one.
third one.
Yeah.
Oh, another quick one was, how old was I? I think 4th grade. You guys know my parents' backyard, that retaining wall they have. It's 4.5. It's a decent size. I remember I was walking on it one day. I had a stick. The stick doesn't play into the story. I just remember I had a stick.
Just there.
And it's concrete patio. We got a basketball hoop. Anyways, concrete wall. I'm walking on it. I don't know what happened, but all of a sudden I just fall. And I just fall around on the concrete. I let go of the stick. It didn't like hit me or anything, but I just remember it was like an old like broom handle, and it fell, and I just whack. I get up, I'm like, ow, walk inside. Like nothing happened. Said I fell off the wall. I hurt a little bit, and I wanted to sit down. That was it.
Oh, I thought you were gonna lose the teeth. Like I thought that they
No,
all
no,
played
no.
together because you lost the teeth.
No.
He said 2 were connected. and
Yeah.
the third was-
No lasting damage as far as I'm aware. I don't think.
You might need
Yeah,
to
that's
see a
the
doctor.
problem, Tanner. You don't think?
Years and years ago. Maybe it's just now affecting me.
You think?
One time I had a loose tooth. I was wiggling it. I'm sure I was using it as an excuse to stay up past my bedtime,
Oh, for sure.
My dad's getting sick of it. So then he's like, all right, stand here. Goes in the garage, gets his pliers. I'm there in the kitchen. Pops it. And then I was like, that wasn't too bad. Because that one was like super loose, And then he's like, are there any others? And this is just like me trying to recall it from his point of view. I'm sure he was just like, I just want to be done with it. If I can yank all the teeth right now and never have to deal with it again, I will. So he's like, are there any others? I like wiggle each one of them individually. I'm like, this one and this one. And he's like, and I was like, oh, because those ones are barely wiggling. Got $3.
Yeah, there you go.
Holy crap. Let's go, Justin, dude.
Yeah.
Dude, if a tooth is strong, it stays in there.
He was putting up with none of that.
Yeah.
So I got one more story before we'll close this out. I was probably 5 or 6. This is after I put the keys in the outlet. Not too long after.
2 days later.
I was probably a couple months after,
The
honestly.
next Sunday.
Me and my friend, we were over at his house. We were screwing around, and then we had a hammer, and we were breaking stuff for whatever reason. He had like a
As all
toy
kids
car
do.
that we like busted up, and like, okay, like what else can we like bust up and break?
Yeah.
So we find some golf clubs, and we're like, all right, what can we do? So like we go in the backyard. and
break with the golf clubs or
Yeah.
break. Okay, I
Just
thought you
like-
were
no, no,
trying
no,
to
no, no.
break the golf clubs.
No, like
Either
break
way,
with
if you have a broken golf club and you like scrape that end on the concrete, you can like if you
Slice
spin
someone.
a circle, you can spin some good sparks. Like
Yeah.
You can also stab somebody with it.
yeah,
Anyways,
added perk.
we were in the backyard. We start looking around, then we see like these weed sunflower deals like growing in the grass or whatever, and like the rocks. We're like, how about we like just practice teeing off or whatever and just start hitting them? So we do that for a minute, and then it just turns into us just pounding them into the ground. So me and my buddy are just going back and forth, whatever. And I'm down low. He's up high. He's taking these massive swings down. I'm down low, just chopping away. And then all of a sudden, whack. I just get hit in the side of the head. I'm like, ow, that kind of hurt.
So your concussion started early then.
Oh, yeah, way early. I'm like, ow,
Never
that
learns.
That kind of hurts. So I like grab my head. I'm like,
Can't remember them.
why is my head all wet? Like, that's weird that my head's all wet. I'm like, oh, I'm bleeding. Like, I'm not like wet. It's bleeding. Rest of it's a little blurry.
I would assume so. Yeah.
I kind of remember going inside
You
his
like
house.
glue it or staples? How did it end up?
I'm
Okay.
getting there.
Paper towels.
So I'm sitting there with a towel on my head. My friend's mom calls my mom. My mom comes gets me.
Oh, it wasn't even at your house.
No, it was
I thought
at somebody
at
else's
yours.
house. I'm just sitting there holding the rag, and I'm like, kind of break up a little bit. Don't remember what happened. All of a sudden, I'm at quick care again. I'm not at the ER. I'm at quick care.
Here's the thing.
Like,
If-
him again.
If a family like yours goes to the ER, someone's dead.
Or someone's missing a limb.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we get back, and they're like, well, it's too open that we can't glue it. So they had to put staples in it. So I had like 3 or 4 staples put into my head. And my mom's like, all right, after we get done with this, I'll take you to go get Subway, and we'll go get food after. Like, if you
Nice.
make it through this, we'll go get food. So I was like, done. Like, get this over with. I'm hungry.
Yeah.
Real fast, that was like the biggest perk and like the biggest flex, like getting checked out of elementary school.
Oh,
for
yeah.
Coming back.
and coming over with like McDonald's, and you're like, yeah.
One time my dad got a Little Caesars pizza and then came into the cafeteria and ate it with me.
Ooh.
I felt like a celebrity. I was like, I got my dad here.
I remember the high school football team would come over with their Subway, and they'd eat with us in the cafeteria. It was like
Oh,
middle
okay.
school?
Elementary school.
Oh,
our
back when they
elementary
had,
school
like,
was
the
right across
reading
the
buddies
street.
or whatever it was.
Yeah. So I remember
We
that.
all went to the same elementary school, Tanner.
Right. Well, you were there for half the time, but
I didn't.
yeah,
No,
he
it wasn't-
didn't.
he
He
wasn't
went to the rich
invited.
person one, right?
I went to like 3 different elementary schools.
He bounced
I went to
around.
one. I went to one.
Yep.
Sorry, speaking of school real fast. Gage is a senior next year.
Shoot.
No.
That's not right.
Yeah, he's
That's
a
not
senior
right.
next year. For some backstory, Gage is my youngest brother of 7 kids. We have all gone to the same school. Like, we've lived in the same house for
Austin a senior
almost,
right now?
yeah. We've
Okay.
been in the same house for almost 20 years. Every single one of the kids has gone through the middle school and the high school,
That
all
is
the way through.
crazy.
And so I
Didn't
guess
the middle school like open up just in time for Corey?
the high school did. So
Okay, yeah.
the middle school at the time was 6th and 7th grade. So she had 6th, 7th grade there. Then they started opening up the high school. So then they changed it to a middle school. And so she did 8th and 9th grade there. And then the high school had already been open. So then she did her high school through there. So she went to that same school for 4 years.
Okay.
So, but anyways, every single one of my siblings has gone through that high school. And my mom had a meeting, like parent-teacher conference style, and talked with the principal because he's a family friend of ours. And, they're talking about Gage and saying like, oh, yeah, he's a senior next year. When he's done, and we're talking about graduation and all this other stuff. And
No more Davis.
and yeah, no more Davises at that high school. And so he was making a joke like, oh, well, we should graduate you guys as parents from the school too, because you've put, so many kids through the school over the last however many years. So, because, we've been graduated for 3.5 years now.
What's the age gap between Corey and Gage?
Oh, over 10 years. Because we're all
That's
about,
hard.
we're all about, well, let's
I'm a
see,
10 key.
10 years. About
10.
10 years. 10 or 12 years. Because she was 95. Crap.
But here's the thing.
06? 06?
No, because Scott's.
06. He's 06.
You don't even know.
Oh yeah, no,
He's
that
06
checks
is
out.
I was 5 when
'Cause-
he was born.
Because Scott's 05.
Yeah,
and
he's
so
06.
that checks
Yeah,
out.
he's 06. So 12 years. A 12-year gap. There's always
Plus
been
4 years of high
And there's
school before
that's
that.
that's
so
the crazy thing. There has
16 years.
always been a kid in the high school.
there's always been a kid there.
Like-
Since Corey entered it, there's always been a Davis at that school. And every 2 years
Yeah,
there's
not
2.
always. Sid and I used to ditch with Jackie at the same art class out the back door.
That's true. No, because I was at the school.
Oh yeah.
Because there was,
He's a
because
big
like when
child.
Corey got there, 10th grade, right? She was the only one. Same with 11th grade, but then when she get 12th grade, Catherine came in at 10th, right? So then Catherine was there alone for 1 year, and then when she moved up, so
Sid
it kind of
came in, yeah.
alternated. But there's always been a Davis since Corey started, however many years ago. There's always been a Davis at that high school.
That is crazy.
And
Crazy.
after next year, none.
Has Logan been out over a year now?
Yeah.
Almost
gets
a
back
year
in-
and a
he
half,
gets
right?
back in
October. September?
He'll get back end of September, beginning of October. So he's been out for how many months? 14.
Yeah.
That's wild. But
Anyways, back to your story, Colby. Sorry about that.
So got 3 or 4 staples in my head. Went and got Subway. Went home, and that was that. I missed a couple of days of school after that because I just didn't want to go.
I thought you were gonna say that your mom didn't get you Subway. I was so hyped
No,
for you to be like, she told me I would get the 4 staples and then I'd get a Subway, and she took me to like
Taco Bell.
Taco
Did
Bell.
you have like a dent in your skull, or
Like
You still have it down?
You can feel a bump a little bit, kind of, not as much as you used to. Matt, you wanna
I'm good.
I didn't even look for it.
as soon as I put my hand, I was like, I'm just gonna rub his head.
Anyways, I had the staples in for a month or whatever it was, and then got them pulled out, and that was that. Like I have pictures of the staples in my head.
Yeah.
It's bad.
I got staples once upon a time too. I remember I would like wear a hat during recess because I didn't want anybody to see them. And then super annoying girl sat behind me. She's always, "What's that? What's that?" Because I took my hat off in class. What's that? I was about to shut her up for a long time. But then after I got them out, I was like, man, I could have stuck magnets to it. Like the magnets you could build stuff with. I was like, wasn't thinking.
Then you would have been a real alien.
Yeah.
Well, moral of the story here, of all of the stories, remember what happens to you and learn from it, and don't do it again unless your name's Tanner. Then you'll just keep doing it over and over again.
Okay, concussion boy.
Hey, some of that you can't
Different
control.
causes.
That's true. I guess that's true. I guess that's true.
Well, this is the boys chat. Catch you next time.
Bye. Love you.
Adios.
Bye.
See ya.
Bye.